$4,000 extra fees will be imposed soon for each H-1B and not each, most of the H-1Bs and L2 extensions. Now, where do they come from? Where does this regulations come from that they want to charge extra 4,000? For the extensions, Stephen, and we're already paying almost $10,000, including the premium processing for some of the companies. And for the extensions, we were paying less amount. Now you're telling that you're going to add $4,000 extra for each H-1B and each L1 extension, even if it's first and second extension also. Stephen, is that true?
Yeah, so yesterday, Rahul, we got a published regulation from CBP, Customs and Border Protection, reanalyzing the public law fee, the 114-113 public law fee. Right now, companies that have more than 50 employees with more than 50% H-1Bs have to pay $4,000 for the initial case. So whether it's a change of status, a transfer, a consular processing, they pay an additional $4,000 on top of the regular fee. Now, I will tell you that's being litigated right now because I think there's room for interpretation there for sure. But CBP is looking at expanding that for these companies, these 50-50 companies, for all cases that ask for an extension.
So if the company has 50 employees or more, and about 50% of those employees are either H-1Bs or L1 visas, this extra 4,000 is applicable. Initially, they were only paying when they filed the first H-1B, the $4,000. They were not paying it when they filed for the extension of the H-1B, first extension, second extension, subsequent extension. But now what you're telling is that CBP is coming up with these $4,000 fees that is going to be imposed on every H-1B extension that these companies will be filing. Is that right, Stephen?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
wait a minute. What is CBP? I know there's the USCIS, there's Department of State. What is CBP? Can you explain? Why are they wanting this money?
Yeah, my understanding, so this public law fee that is set by Congress helps fund the 9/11 biometric entry and exit fee, right, is what it's called. And it's part of this biometrics program, I guess, that CBP operates. And so even though USCIS takes it in, the money is set, to fund this program, right? And it is mandated by Congress for these companies, although, again, I mentioned there's a court case on this because it says for an application for admission to the U.S., you have to pay this fee for these companies. Certainly not extensions until now. Now CBP's posted this regulation as a proposed regulation. So this doesn't go into effect today, Rahul. We got the proposed regulation yesterday. It was published. And employers have, 30 days here. Individuals have 30 days to make comments until July 8th on their position and what they want CBP, DHS to consider before making a final rule.
So explain the background, what the 911, which has happened in 2001. Maybe some of these H-1B applicants were not even born at that time. What does that has to do with the H-1B?
This was, again, something done by Congress to help fund this program for these specific companies that have a higher number of H or L. For H1s, it's a $4,000 fee. For L1s, it's a $4,500 fee to help fund this biometrics program through this fee. And again, up until now, it has been interpreted, right or wrong, to only mean that initial case. Yeah, H or L application. Now they want to do it for all cases that requested an extension of status.
So tell me, Stephen, at this point of time, for the companies that have 50 or more employees, where 50% of them are on H-1B or L1, which we call 50-50 employees, how much is the extension of the H-1B fees right now? And how much, if this regulation passes through, will be the new fees?
Yeah, so for these companies, the first extension is 2,880 as of now. With this fee, it would be 6,880. And remember, that doesn't include the $2,805 for premium processing that's out there. For the second extension, it's currently 1,380. With this fee, it would be at 5,380. And keep in mind, Rahul, they just increased all the fees on April 1st, right?
Right.
And now they want to add on another 4,000 even for these extensions for something that
previously we were paying for the asylum applications, which they closed it at the south border. Now we're paying for the 911, which has nothing to do with these H-1B applicants.
Correct.
What kind of companies, can you explain? Is this applicable to all companies or only some companies? Can you explain which companies this fees is applicable to?
Yeah, so this by statute is only for certain companies. It is for companies with more than 50 employees and have more than 50% on H1 or L1 status. This doesn't count H4s, L2s, O1s, TNs, or anything like that. It's only H1 or L1, more than 50%.
So doesn't it has to go through the Senate, or it's a regulation passed by the department?
Yeah. So throughout all this, what DHS is saying is they are reinterpreting the law and therefore going through notice and comment to amend this regulation. And so, again, that's why they've got to go through this process. In their view, this proposed regulation more properly aligns with the Public Law 114, 113 in their viewpoint. Again, I don't necessarily think I agree on that. So, again, I encourage people to make their comments known on this because I think it has impacts not only on the business, but potentially on employees. Employers might cut down on some of their costs or, stop doing so many extensions. And, that could be detrimental as well.
Stephen, you said that this came out yesterday, June 6th of 2024. When can it be effective? And there is a comment period that they have given. When can it be effective? How soon it can be effective? Can it be effective tomorrow?
No. So there's a comment window until July 8th. DHS will have to review all the comments and respond to the comments. And then there's usually a 30 to 60 day, probably a 60-day implementation window, kind of a cooling off period like we have for perm recruitment, right? So I think kind of based off of that, if they move quickly, we could maybe see in October or later this year. But that's, again, if they move quickly on this with responding and how many comments they receive. If they only get one comment, it's really easy to review it and respond to it.
I know you told Stephen that employers and employees are welcome to comment. I know you published an article at rnlawgroup.com, which I'm going to provide a link to them later on at the video though. But can you also provide a draft letter and the email address that they can send the comments to?
Yeah, so they will. I haven't done a draft yet. My letter does talk about kind of a structure, but I will. The article does provide how to go on and make a comment on the Federal Register's website. It's actually not very hard to do. I've provided the citation number in the article, and there's a button. I'm looking at it right now that says submit a formal comment. It is just a short form. You put in what you want your comment to be, your email, and then whether you're an individual, an organization, or anonymous, and then submit. It's very easy. You can kind of put your thoughts if you want to on ChatGPT if you want and have it write it better. Hey, I want to respond to this saying da 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 da, and have it write it, or just put in your thoughts. It doesn't have to be a doctrinal, legal brief on this. It can just say, I think this is bad because blank, And that's fine. I would encourage you to do more, but don't think you need to spend hours writing this.
What is the deadline to submit the comments on this one, which they have to consider it?
Yeah, July 8th is the deadline as of today. And they can extend that, but not shorten it.
What are the key points that employers should include in their comments for the DHS, Stephen? Some things which you can give a point out to.
Yeah, so I would give a background of your company, what you guys as a company do, your impact, especially if you work in key areas, and how this fee is going to impact your organization, whether it's financially, operationally, if you've got specific data sets that you can provide, and then provide some recommendations. Hey, I think it should stay the way it is, or maybe if your opinion is only for the first extension, not for subsequent extensions, whatever you as a company feel like would be more appropriate. That's how I would do this.
What are the chances to litigate this in the court, Stephen?
So I don't think we can right now. We don't have a final rule. This is a proposed rule. It's got to go through notice and comment, and then after notice and comment, and they publish a final rule, it can be looked at. I can tell you there is a lawsuit on this as it is, with the expansion of this to changes of statuses and potentially even transfers, because the public law fee by Congress says admission is a term of art in the INA. A petition for admission is not a petition with USCIS. So this is already being challenged as a rule the way it is today. So I'm interested to see, what they come up with as a final rule. I believe there's argument for that case next month.
Now, the companies are already paying $4,000 for the initial application. Now they want to do it every extension, and every extension they have to pay the $4,000. What are they doing with this money?
Again, my understanding reading through this, and I've actually never dug into this until this rule, but there is a biometrics program that was created through this for entry and exit data. And that's what they're using this to invest in, is creating this this 9/11 biometric account, which supports critical biometric entry and exit operations in land, sea, and air entry environments that are ongoing and must be sustained.
Okay. And now they're going to increase for every extension, now, of course, they're also filing for the transfer applications also. Is this fees applicable for amendment also?
No, just for extensions of stay.
Okay. Anything else that you want? How do employers get information about this one, updates about this information?
Yeah, so we'll continue to provide updates as they come about. This came out yesterday. Rahul, Emily, and I were chatting about it right in the evening. About it, and here we are live this afternoon. We'll keep up with this and try to get some timely updates. But I do want to keep in mind, Rahul, I saw a comment here about how the H-1B fee should be higher to deter lower pay to employees, and I don't think these are correlated at all, right? These are government fees that are being paid to the government. This has nothing to do with salaries or anything like that. It has, if they up the fee, it doesn't increase salaries at all. So I don't think they're correlated.
What about, is this fees applicable to L visas also, or only H-1Bs?
Yeah, it's applicable to Ls as well that have companies situated in the same 50/50. It is $4,500 for Ls, so it's a little bit different, but same proposal.
Okay, for L1Bs, L1B, L1A is also this one?
Yeah, so any L or L1 or any H1.
Is this applicable for TN visas and E visas?
No, it doesn't impact TNs, O1s, what else did you say there?
P1s,
TN,
Q1s, J1s.
anything else, any of your any of your other employment-based categories that you'd file an I-129, H's, or it's only H's and L's. It doesn't impact TNs. It doesn't impact O1s, P1s, R1s, anything like that.
Mostly this looks to be a tax on Indians because most of the people who have been on H-1B seems to be Indians because they can't get the green card because of backlog. H-1s or L-1s because of the backlog. So this seems to be a tax on Indians to me, Stephen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think who is most negatively impacted, is people who have to file extensions all the time. And if they didn't have to keep being stuck on H-1B, they wouldn't have to keep filing extensions.
Stephen, what if my employer doesn't want to pay and he is wanting to let me go instead of paying the $4,000 fees? Can I as an employee pay the fees for the $4,000?
It's a good question. Generally speaking, employees cannot pay for H-1B fees. Now, this fee isn't specifically mentioned by Department of Labor, but I wouldn't recommend it because I think Department of Labor is going to look at this as all fees should not be paid by the employee at all.
What do you think so this will impact though? Does it discourage the employers to extend it and the people may have to leave the country because USCIS has found a way to make money on these individuals. CBP was making, now every department wants to make money on these people.
Yeah, I think it could have a negative impact, whether it's companies not wanting to file as many petitions or cut down on the number of extensions or employees deciding to leave. I think this will continue to contribute to, the brain drain that a lot of people talk about with the way U.S. is handling immigration.
Any more things that you want to discuss, Stephen?
No, I encourage you. Look, I think you guys know my position on this, but whether you're for or against it, go make your voices heard. This is a way for you to participate in the regulatory process. You go online to the Federal Register's website. It is in my article that is posted today, and you can go on and submit your comments to the proposed rule.
Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you have any updates, we always subscribe, like Reddy Neumann channel so that anytime we publish a news bulletin, you get immediately notification. Thank you very much.